You're listening to the Wrestlebread podcast.
Yowie wowie! With one beer, 2 beers.
You just went Austin 360 meets Pillman. Oh my God.
Tony?
Yeah.
Cut the shit.
How many red carpets you guys want to walk in your $4,000 ridiculous heels? You will never be able to lace up my Chuck Taylors.
This is your fault. This is your fault, Lil.
I didn't get mad when you stole all my moves.
Your daddy's not here anymore.
How was your movie, by the way? I missed it.
Mine went straight to DVD, just like yours.
Careful you don't hurt your neck again going through those ropes.
And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever.
You're listening to the Wrestlebread podcast. What is going on, guys? This is Jaydee, and this is episode 178 of the Wrestlebread podcast. So we had a lot of news going on this past week. We even had some good old wrestling as well. So let's get into it. First of all, have to go outside the wrestling stuff. If you don't know, I'm a Cowboys fan, and I am shocked. Today is March 15th, of this recording, first of all, it is March 15th. And the Cowboys have done something that they haven't done in a long time. Well, not a long time, but in a while. And that's make moves in the off season. First of all, the Dallas Cowboys have released Ezekiel Elliott. I thought it would be a cool 5 years before we make any moves on him, but he's released. Just no big ass pressure on to Jerry Jones. I mean, Jerry Jones is trying to make the Cowboys off season great again. Now, where is he going to go? Hey, maybe Philly will pick up another one of our straggling running backs again. If you don't know, that's a reference to back when the Cowboys released DeMarco Murray or traded him to Philly. I forgot which one it is. And then Philly had picked him up and had him for a season. But who knows where Ezekiel Elliott's going to go? Maybe Washington. That'll be a little bit scary there. But, Washington, hopefully they'll be able to keep it together this time around. So exciting things going on over in the football world. In the baseball world, slightly salty about Phillies tickets. I thought I would be able to secure some free tickets technically for a game that I keep talking shit about, but it looks like I'm going to a different game. But, I'm going to try to make it work. I may be going to the Phillies game on my birthday. I may not be going to the Phillies game on my birthday. It's cool though, because the Phillies were going to go all the way. Last year, we didn't think they were going to go to the World Series, and they went to the World Series. This year, we're going to say they're going to the World Series, and it might be possible they won't make it to the World Series, but never lose hope, okay? Never lose hope. I don't keep up with the spring training. Truthfully, there's 5,000 games that happen in the regular season of baseball. I normally do all my catching up and my little cheat cliff notes and stuff like that at that point. And now we are in March. We are starting off with March Madness. I can let you know right now that I 100% do not follow college basketball. I am like every typical Philly person who do not follow college basketball. I only pay attention if Temple, Villanova, or Penn State is in it. Other than that, the only thing I do is I fill out the bracket because that's fun. And I know ESPN, I think it's ESPN that gives out $1 million for the perfect bracket. And I fill it out to see if I can just get some dumb luck out of nowhere. Hey, someone has to eventually hit the lottery. So I figure, hey, I might as well just throw my hat into there, see how many, I do it just to see how many I actually get right. So sometimes it surprises me of how many I get right. Apparently there was a big upset and I got it right because I have no idea the schools were. But this year I saw that Penn State made it in. So, I'll be rooting for Penn State. And as far as Jay, what about your college? Does your college ever get into there? Your girl graduated from DeVry, so no, DeVry will never make it in. However, I did go to Temple for a year for journalism, so I claim Temple because, I like Temple. I know Temple's men's basketball is sometimes good. I have no idea how they are this year. Sometimes I do go to the Temple football games, and that's the only time you'll ever catch me at Lincoln Financial Field is to go to a Temple football game. If you want to know, like, oh, is Temple football team good? No, they're trash. They really are. Sometimes they get blown out. Sometimes they lose by maybe a touchdown. And, sometimes they really cut it close. They do win from time to time. But I normally go there just to be like, oh, I went to a football game in Philly. That's the only time I'm going to a football game in Philly is for Temple. So let's get into some news and rumors with wrestling because there's been a lot. There's a lot of shit that's happened this week. First off, I have an announcement to make about the podcast and some big changes that are coming to the podcast. But be sure to stick around to the end of the episode. First of all, we have finally, as of 3 weeks before WrestleMania, we finally are getting into the inductees of the Hall of Fame. The first person who was announced was Rey Mysterio, which was a bit of a shock to me because he is still kind of active. So I don't know if this means that he will be retiring from wrestling this year. He never really got a chance to really speak his mind because his convict son Dominic keeps interrupting him. So I don't know if this match between him and Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania will be his final match and then he'll go on to retire, or what are we doing here? And then very recently Ric Flair had announced on the bump that the Great Muta will be entering into the Hall of Fame. And you're wondering, hey Jaydee, who did the Great Muta face in WWE? He faced no one. This is purely because he was of his position in WCW, what he has done for WCW back in the day, and he did a lot for New Japan as well. You probably know that he wrestled Shinsuke Nakamura during his goodbye tour. He will be inducted into the Hall of Fame. There's rumors that the Hall of Fame this year is going to be a lot smaller. I don't know how small it's going to be. It will be going on after Smackdown. Sorry, Tony Khan, nobody's going to be watching Rampage that night. And we will be getting, I guess it'll be within an hour or two. I'm hoping for 2 hours or less because, sometimes the induction speeches can get a little bit long-winded. Going into more news with under WWE, it seems like Kofi Kingston had gotten injured and he is going to be needing surgery, which he possibly will be out for at least 5 weeks, according to Wrestling Observer, which means he will not be recovered in time for WrestleMania, which sucks because, Kofi Kingston, no matter what you say about Kofi Kingston is very talented, especially for as long as he's been wrestling. So it sucks that he won't be able to possibly, wrestle at WrestleMania, but I wish him all the recovery. And speaking of New Day, Big E, it's a year since he has not really left WWE, but he's been out of action due to an injury. And because of that, now all of a sudden, the keyboard warriors of the world are sending death threats to Ridge Holland. And it's like, listen, okay, wrestling comes with risks. Everybody knows that, it happens all the damn time. Everyone gets injured, no matter what. Seth Rollins had injured Sting. Seth Rollins got injured himself. Everyone has gotten injured. Xavier Woods himself has gotten injured. So to put out death threats, though, it's not like Ridge Holland purposely injured Big E. It was a complete accident. He was remorseful for it. And it's just like, first of all, I would love to see all these people who are sending death threats go and put on a 10-minute match. Matter of fact, a 5-minute match, okay? Some of y'all motherfuckers do not have the talent of the people who appear on AEW Dark. So get out of here with all that, with the death threats and stuff like that. What the fuck y'all gonna do? Y'all not gonna do anything. Okay? Y'all not gonna do anything. If y'all were to see Ridge Holland in person, you're gonna sit there and be like, hi, can you sign this autograph for me so I can sell it on eBay? So chill out, okay? There are people who have gotten injured. I mean, Stone Cold, for example. Stone Cold had gotten injured and stuff like that. Now, of course, social media didn't exist back then, but I'm sure, if social media exists back then, Owen Hart probably would have got fucking, death threats and all the other stuff. So just Xavier Woods had tweeted out about it, telling people to be kind, and don't blame Rich Holland for what happened. Accidents happen. It's the risk that they take as performers that you can get injured, So for the people who, the keyboard warriors who are sitting there just hacking away on the keyboard with the death threats, fuck off, okay? Now, speaking of Stone Cold, this is according to Fightful, that WWE sources still believe that Steve Austin is open to returning for another match if the money and situation both make sense. And apparently he was not offered enough money to agree to work a match against Brock Lesnar. And then apparently WWE pitched for Stone Cold to go against LA Knight, but it's not clear if he accepted or declined the match or if he's considering the idea. First of all, okay, ain't no fucking way Stone Cold's gonna go against Brock Lesnar in this day and age, okay? Brock Lesnar will, we seen it, okay? He mistakenly gets hit, he's gonna haul off and not try to knock you the fuck out. You gonna sit here and tell me that Stone Cold and versus Brock Lesnar is gonna suplex Stone Cold? Is that what we're trying to say? That's what we're trying to do? Brock Lesnar is going to take a stunner, okay? Now we're gonna do a promo versus promo between Stone Cold and Brock Lesnar. Look, I get that people love their legends and stuff. Look, I love The Undertaker. But there are times where I say, listen, you don't have to wrestle, my guy. Like, come do a meet and greet, Let me shake your hand and pay money to thank you. We don't really need to see people wrestle when they're, like, not really past their prime, but when they're past the point where let's just remember them for what they have done. Like, The Undertaker couldn't stop until he got a good match to walk out on. All right, let's keep it straight. There was a number of years where Undertaker's matches were not up to par. And unfortunately for him, he had to keep wrestling match after match because he kept trying to wrestle the good match that he can just completely walk away from. We had that with Stone Cold, with KO, and even with him stunning Pat McAfee and Austin Theory and stuff like that. We had a lot of fun with it, all right? Let's just remember that memory for what it is, okay? The last thing I want to happen is for Stone Cold to sit here and wrestle someone, have a shitty match, and then all the motherfuckers gonna come out and be like, Stone Cold had a shitty match, he's not like it used to be, yada, yada, yada. No, I'd rather for Stone Cold come out and cut promos on people. That's what I'd rather do. You can't get injured. You can't botch. I mean, you can botch on a promo, but it's very unlikely that Stone Cold will botch on the promo. I take that back, because then I just thought of Hulk Hogan with the Superdome, Silverdome. You can botch a promo, but I have a lot of faith in the fact that Stone Cold more likely will not botch a promo, okay? So continue on with WWE. The Bella twins are now the Garcia twins, and they tweeted this out. So I don't know if it seems like they're done with WWE. I don't know what they're gonna do now. Like, what are y'all doing now? Because a lot of shit that they have done outside of WWE had involved WWE. Nikki Bella gets married, that involved WWE. Now, Brie Bella, she's not doing as much stuff because her husband is wrestling for AEW. But I'm guessing this shouldn't be a bit of a surprise, because there has been a lot of tension from the Bella twins as far as with WWE. They felt some type of way about the Sasha Banks situation. They were not called to appear for Raw 30. Nikki Bella also had very strong opinions for when Bianca Belair lost her match, and a lot of things that WWE has done as well. So I guess we really shouldn't be surprised that they're done. They're like washing their hands and stuff like that. I guess because of all that they have done for the company, they have felt that they are being disrespected by, not being, like I said, not being invited to Raw 30, not being invited to Royal Rumble or something like that. So Very interested to see what the Garcia twins are going to do. It's going to be difficult for them to now separate themselves from the Bella twins, because that's how they became popular and that's how they were known. So now they have to correct everyone who calls them the Bella twins and say, no, we're the Garcia twins. And you go, huh? Who? Why y'all the Garcia twins? Like, you're Brie, Bella, Nikki Bella. Bella's y'all last name. No, it's not. It's Garcia. So that's what they're going to have to do probably for the rest of their lives until they decide that they want to be the Bella twins again. So I am very interested to see what they're going to do from now on. Going on to some more news with WWE. Bianca Belair, this little tidbit, I forgot the source, but Bianca Belair is now the longest reigning black male or female champion in WWE history. She has surpassed MVP, and he had held the US title for 343 days. Now, I'm not sure if they announced that on Raw or Smackdown or anything like that of this, of what she has done, but kudos to Bianca Belair. She has been killing it, and she's been killing it with the Office too. Like I said, a lot of times I'm waiting for the fashion line to drop. But kudos to her though. And, don't know if she's going to keep holding it, past WrestleMania, but I do appreciate the title reign that she has had so far. So next up, speaking of, names who start with the B, Bray Wyatt is physically unable to compete. Now, first of all, when it comes to Bray Wyatt, there are two rumors that's going on. I believe it was Fightful who said that he is physically unable to compete, that he was supposed to wrestle at the Madison Square Garden show, but he was unable to due to a physical issue. So it sounds like it's an injury or something like that. Fightful has said that they couldn't really confirm that. Whereas though I believe it's Wrestling Observer who says that Bray Wyatt has walked out of WWE because he is upset with creative. And of course, because of this, people put on their tinfoil hats, including the Observer, who says that the idea Vince McMahon has no involvement at all in WWE is likely not true. And this is why now all of a sudden Bray Wyatt is upset with creative and walked out and stuff like that because of Vince McMahon. Can we listen? Okay, let me get real with y'all. This is a PSA. And I want you to tell your friend, to tell your friend, to tell their friends, and to tell your mama and your grandmama this. It's okay to blame Triple H for some stuff, I know that we had very high expectations. We were very excited for Triple H to take over. It's what we've been wanting for years. It's okay to take off the rose-colored glasses. It's okay to realize, there's a patch of brown dirt over there on that other side. And, and realize that it's not going to be perfect, okay? Listen, I've said that it's going to be, we'll see like how Triple H's booking is. And Triple H has taken over since when? May, June-ish. We'll just say July. So July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February. It's been 7 months of Triple H taking over the creative. Can we say that the situation with Bray Wyatt isn't working? It's okay to admit it. Like, it doesn't take away from the creative genius that is Bray Wyatt. But there is something that Triple H has said with Bray Wyatt is that he has so many creative ideas that it's kind of hard to hone them in. No one can explain to me what Bray Wyatt is right now in one sentence, okay? Because no one knows what he is right now. We are like 2 weeks away from WrestleMania, and we don't know what this character is. We don't know who Uncle Howdy is. Is he really his uncle? Is it really his brother? Is he a friend? Is he a foe? Is he there just to wave hi and, tug on his jacket like he belongs on a Monopoly board? When Bray Wyatt came back, when he was coming back with the White Rabbit and stuff, it was great. Everyone was Nancy Drew. There were so many people on Twitter who should apply for the FBI. Seriously, because they were doing source code, stuff like that. And, putting out it was just like, they had the board up. some people really need to put their skills, and they can probably become the next host of Unsolved Mysteries. Okay. It was great. It was exciting. And then once we got past that and he came back with the first couple of promos, it's kind of cool. Okay. We don't know where this is going. This is exciting. Into the unknown. Here we go. And then he goes against LA Knight, which I said is a lose-lose situation because LA Knight just became LA Knight. LA Knight's really good on the mic as well. He has a lot of charisma and everything. And it's Bray Wyatt's first feud. So somebody has to lose. And what did we see happen during that feud? People started liking LA Knight. Even though LA Knight is supposed to be the heel. Okay, normally in WWE, the heel does not get cheered. I lied. We have Roman Reigns. But, however, about 85% of the time, the heel does not really get cheered. Everybody likes Bray Wyatt, but for some reason, people started gravitating towards LA Knight. Now, if he walked out due to creative issues, it's because we don't know what he's trying to do. Maybe he had some ideas for Brock Lesnar because allegedly that's who he was supposed to go against. Brock Lesnar says, I'm not doing the hocus pocus shit. Catch me outside with that. And now Bray Wyatt is with Bobby Lashley, who is another popular person. And it's like, what is the angle that we're trying to do here? It's very possible Bray Wyatt sat there, kicked out some ideas. Triple H said, no, that's dumb. Let's not do that. Okay, change it. We're not doing that. And it could be very possible that he walked out from that. It could be possible that he got injured. We don't know 100% for sure until Bray Wyatt or WWE themselves say it. But let's just admit that Triple H isn't 100% great with the booking. Like I've said, there is a big ass difference between booking Black and Gold NXT and booking main roster Raw and SmackDown. Listen, I will say NXT Black and Gold, the booking is the easiest thing. The crowd for Black and Gold NXT is the easiest crowd to book for, okay? All you gotta give the NXT Black and Gold crowd is a really good storyline. You already have the talent that could do the wrestling in the ring. All you gotta do is give them storylines and they take it from there. Tone up their promo skills just a little bit and stuff like that. And it all writes out, okay? You can have, we had Johnny Gargano and The Miz on the main roster. If you had put Johnny Gargano and The Miz in Black and Gold NXT, those fans would have ate it up. They would have said, this is awesome, and all the other chants, because that's the easiest crowd to book for, okay? All you have to do is give them a compelling storyline and some good wrestling in the ring, and they're hook, line, and sinker. However, and it's only one show, 2 hours a week, when they're live. When they were taped, you can sit there and film a bunch of shows back to back to back to back. With the pay-per-views, it was only 5 matches. Everyone understood that, well, it seemed like everyone understood that if you're not on the pay-per-view, it's okay, We're all on the same team. But now we're talking about the main crowd, where it's 3 hours of Raw, 2 hours of SmackDown. You have a big-ass roster that you cannot overturn because there is no call-ups when it comes to the main roster. And then on top of that, you're not pleasing the average fan that loves the indies and likes the storylines, and you go ooh and wah because here comes Johnny Gargano. No, you are booking for the 9-year-old kid who dragged their dad there because they saw John Cena a couple of times a few years ago, and they keep watching WWE. The casual crowd just wants to be entertained. That's it. You give them a good laugh or something like that. Like the Uzi Hot will get over on the casual crowd. The rest of us, the Black and Gold fans, we smashed our keyboards on that shit, okay? But give the fans a goofy storyline or something like that. And like when it comes to the casual crowds, wrestling is last, okay? The casual crowd will be okay with backstage segments, promos in the ring, shows and stuff like that. We have really yet, outside of like the wrestling towns of America, we have rarely had people just take over a show and boo because they don't like a segment. No, there'll be people who cheer and stuff like that. It's people who, love watching, who would love to watch a Chelsea Green versus Carmella match. They would love that. There's people who don't understand how talented Chad Gable is. They love the fact that he does the thank you and shoes please. That pops them. So there's a big difference between the two. And I'm sure Triple H is seeing that it's not that easy to sit there and play juggle with 100 wrestlers, trying to get the storylines for everyone, trying to make it compelling. Let's go even deeper than Bray Wyatt. Triple H just brought back Karrion Kross. Started out hot. He was looking like he was going after Roman Reigns' title, had a feud with Drew McIntyre, and then they ended up throwing him to Madcap Moss. Okay? I mean, they had Top Row. Top Row is pretty much just there at this point, which I knew they weren't going to really work out because they didn't have Swerve Scott. Swerve Scott was pretty much the only great thing about Top Rope. I'm thinking of Top Dollar because of the Top Rope fiasco. Hit Row, okay? And then Dexter Lumis and Johnny Gargano. Johnny Gargano got stuck in a feud with The Miz. Now he's back at NXT for a little bit. Like, why do we have to say that Vince is back because things aren't working out for Bray Wyatt? It's Triple H. Was Vince McMahon at Raw this past week? Was he at SmackDown? Did he sneak into the building again and have a goatee this time and stood in gorilla, snapping at Triple H and yelling in Michael Cole's ear? No. Vince McMahon was there just to see John Cena, just like I thought. Bray Wyatt walked out before Vince McMahon took over the creative, which is on our boy Triple H. It's okay. Say it with me. Triple H is to blame. Breathe in, breathe out. You're still alive. You're still alive. SmackDown's still coming on. It's all right. So, speaking about what's going on this Friday, let's switch gears over to AEW. I think that probably 10 people are going to watch probably more than 10 people are going to watch Rampage this week, but Rampage is coming on at 11:30 Friday. Due to March Madness, basically. I'm not watching Rampage. I can barely watch Rampage when it came on 10 o'clock. They can throw on as many people on that Rampage. Who's going to watch Rampage at 11:30 at night, even though it's a Friday? But who's going to watch Rampage at 11:30 to midnight? You want us to watch wrestling into the next day, sir. And then next week, due to, I believe it's a soccer game, they're moving Rampage from Friday to Saturday. And they got the nerve to try to do another show and some house shows? No, sir. You need to figure out Rampage real quick, okay? Because Rampage is getting slaughtered by these network conflicts. I mean, it's a few times that Raw or SmackDown has switched time slots, but that's very rarely. It feels like at least once every month or two, Rampage is getting moved to Saturday. It's got moved to 7 o'clock. It got moved to 11 o'clock. Got moved to Saturday. It got moved to Sunday. It got moved to space. Like, they need to figure it out. They need to figure out Rampage. They're going to have to, TNT, TBS, sometimes it's the worst networks to have, to do this with because they'll move you for some sports. Okay? There could be a golf game going on. Next thing you know, Tony Khan's announcing that Rampage is going to move to 7 o'clock. So he's going to have to talk to the execs at Warner Brother Discovery and figure out what we're doing with Rampage, because we can't play hot potato with these time slots, because eventually people are just going to stop watching because they go to look to see Rampage at 10 o'clock. It's not there. They see basketball. They're going to turn away. They're going to turn away and not come back for 11:30. So I'm very interested to see how many people is going to tune in for this 11:30 Rampage this week. Also with AEW, they announced that Forbidden Door 2 is coming to Toronto on June 25th. So we will see if, we know that it may involve Jay White. It may not involve Jay White. If it involves Jay White, he's coming from the AEW side, which will be some pretty good storytelling there. Or we will see him at Raw after Mania. Also, with AEW, their game, Fight Forever, is supposed to come out sometime this year. However, it seems like there is a holdup with it because Game Changer Wrestling, aka GCW, has formally opposed AEW's trademark claim on Fight Forever. And that's because they held an event in January 2021 called Fight Forever. And it was a 24-hour empty venue show designed to benefit wrestlers who have been sidelined by the pandemic. And they filed for a trademark of the name that year, months after AEW filed their claim. They're saying, GCW is saying, like, no, we're not trying to hold up the game. We just want to make sure we can use it. Now, I don't follow GCW that much. I only watched that one show that I talked about on the podcast. But I'm pretty sure if Fight Forever was the name that you used for the event in 2021, and you did nothing else with that name ever since then, I'm very sure you can let go of that name. I mean, you can name it to something completely else. I believe you can make a slight change to it. We'll see how that turns out. You know, eventually the game's going to come out. Who knows? But, you know, we'll keep fingers crossed that it'll come out this year. I don't know why I'm talking about it like I'm actually going to buy the game. I'm a cheapskate when it comes to video games. Mainly because I have PlayStation Plus, and PlayStation Plus gives out a lot of free games. And I am one of those gamers who I'm very bad at finishing games. I'm one of those gamers that'll play a game, get close to the end, and then go, ooh, this game came out, or this game is free, go and play that game. And then I try to platinum games, and I stop before I finish the game to do side quest stuff like that, and then I get sidetracked. And then on top of that, I really didn't have a PlayStation like that. Like, I had a PlayStation 1, and then my next PlayStation was a PlayStation 5. No, actually, sorry, PlayStation 4. I was the annoying girlfriend that will ask you, like, can I play your PlayStation? And, so because of that, my back catalog is so long because I didn't play a lot of the classics. And when I got my PS4, it was probably like maybe a year or two before PS5 came out, and I got the PS5. So yeah, there's a lot of games that came out that I never played, and so I'm going through that catalog. So yeah, the games that I never played, you would probably say, why are you calling yourself a gamer? But I'm trying to get the gamer card back because I'm going through the games that I've never played. So now on to some very sad news. Arn Anderson had announced that his oldest son, Barrett, had died at age 37. My heart, thoughts, and prayers and condolences goes out to Arn Anderson and his family in this time of sorrow. The worst thing that a parent can go through is to lose a child. I cannot imagine how he feels for that. It's heartbreaking. It's very hard and heartbreaking. Words cannot describe, but I do hope for, my thoughts and prayers go to them and their family. Getting into Smackdown, it wasn't a lot of things that happened that was just like, oh my gosh, like that was completely exciting outside the bloodline stuff. I mean, we had the match of Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, Xavier Woods, Karrion Kross, and LA Knight to determine who will challenge Gunther for his IC title at Mania. And it ended in a draw with Drew McIntyre and Sheamus scoring a pinfall at the same time. And I believe they're going to face each other then to see who's going to challenge for his IC title. And Gunther was pretty much like, I think Gunther was like saying that he can go against both of them or something. It felt like this is going to end in a triple threat. I'm going to assume that with Drew McIntyre and Sheamus going against each other, it's going to end in another no contest or something, and then it'll be announced that it will be a triple threat or something like that. We also had Judgment Day going against Legado del Fantasma. This happened after Rey Mysterio was announced as the first inductee for WWE Hall of Fame, and Dom Mysterio came out So he called his dad, well, not his, he called Rey Mysterio pathetic and stuff like that. And he mentioned how there was a time that Rey was going to buy him a car when he turned 16. He wanted a Mercedes because all his friends showed up Mercedes, and Rey Mysterio got him a BMW. That promo happened at Raw. I got it mixed up. That promo happened at Raw. On SmackDown, Dominic had talked about, how he's a deadbeat dad and stuff like that. And he said, in the end, I should have been Eddie's son. And I'm like, you are Eddie's son, bro. Like, your dad's been lying to you. He mentioned how, you lied to me and stuff like that. I'm like, he's upset about the car situation. I'm like, bro, he lied to you about who your dad is. He's not your father. You need to go, well, you can't go on Maury anymore because he stopped. But there is paternity court, though. I've seen it on TikTok. You go to paternity court, find out if that's your real daddy or not. We're definitely going towards a match between them two for WrestleMania. I'm going to assume that maybe this will be his retirement match, or, to have his son retire him, which I guess, they'll be very poetic, but I'm interested to see how things will continue for Dom without his deadbeat dad there. We also had Charlotte Flair going against Shotzi Blackheart. Of course, Charlotte Flair won. Rhea Ripley showed up, sat there and waved at her and everything. They talked a little bit of shit and stuff like that, and Charlotte, gave a passionate promo and stuff like that, and it feels like we may have a new champion coming. We get to, of course, the big thing of the night, and that is the Bloodline. Jey Uso needs to fucking explain what the hell is going on. So, of course, Jimmy starts off saying the Usos are back together. The crowd was sitting there chanting for Sami Zayn and everything like that. And then Jey mentioned how, he had to do it. He had no choice, stuff like that. And he talked about, it's all about blood. It's about his family. And Sami Zayn is not family. He said Sammy's selfish and stuff like that. And he said that Sami Zayn, was the problem. They got rid of it. And the only problem left is Cody Rhodes. So, of course, here comes Cody Rhodes and everything. He's saying, like, he keeps hearing his name and you want to talk to him and stuff like that. As Cody was, first of all, if you're coming out to fight, why would you put on a full suit? Because Cody takes off the jacket, loosens the tie and stuff. So then he starts attacking. I believe it was Jey that he started attacking, or Jimmy. I forgot which one he started attacking. Got into the crowd, and then that's when Cody Rhodes decides to take the fucking shirt off. And I guess he completely forgot the way he dressed himself, because normally when you wear a shirt, a button-down shirt, especially if you're, dazzy and politician like Cody Rhodes dress, you probably have cufflinks on. The buttons on your sleeves are probably tight. So he went to take the shirt off, and the shirt got stuck on the hands because you got to unbutton the sleeves. So it took him, he struggled. Thank the cameraman for cutting back to the action in the ring between Sami Zayn and I believe it was Jimmy Uso that was in the crowd. It took Cody like a hot ass minute to take the damn the jacket off. So of course now we are switching to Cody versus Roman Reigns, Sami Zayn trying to get back with KO to go against the Usos. I applaud Triple H. Now, I guess people aren't going to say that this was Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon's the only thing Vince McMahon has done is destroy Bray Wyatt's career. But because we have this good thing going on at this point, probably Vince never entered the building. But I commend Triple H for being smart enough to sway everyone to being okay with Sami Zayn and trying to reunite with KO to go against the Usos. And they're okay with Cody Rhodes going against Roman Reigns instead of demanding for Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania night 1 and Cody at night 2 type of situation that people were all asking for. So kudos to that. Great booking by that to convince the crowd that yes, you do want Cody Rhodes to go against Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. And yes, even though the storyline is so griping up between Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns, we're going to sway this over between Sami Zayn and the Usos. So kudos for that. Like I said, overall, like the show wasn't bad. It's just that we're 2 weeks away from WrestleMania, and I feel like we need to get tighter on these storylines. Like, we do have matches that are set in stone. For example, of course, Charlotte and Rhea, Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. But we're still figuring out about the IC title. We are still trying to figure out if it's going to be Judgment Day versus Legado del Fantasma. What are we like? You know, we know that eventually it's going to be Sami Zayn versus KO versus the Usos. But with Cody coming into the mix, I feel like it's dragging that portion of the Bloodline storyline out a little bit farther. It would have been more impactful if Sami Zayn goes to attack the Usos and he gets completely destroyed. Because, and we could cut to KO watching Sami Zayn gets destroyed or something like that. I feel like with Cody Rhodes entering the picture is something that could have happened if we were still in February. Like we're about 2 weeks away from, we're 2 weeks away from WrestleMania. We need KO and Sami Zayn to get together like now, and then you're like now working towards the title picture between Sami Zayn and KO and the Usos. I feel like we're still dragging these storylines out a little bit too much and not giving enough build for the actual match. We're doing a build for Sami Zayn and KO to reunite instead of a build of the tag team titles. Because I feel like we're going to come down to the last week. They're going to come together and then they'll challenge for the titles. And then we'll just have Smackdown, a promo versus promo thing for Sami Zayn, KO, and the Usos. And then that'll be that. So I'm hoping they tighten it up. Maybe SmackDown have them reunite or Raw have them reunite and then put the concentration more onto the match. So now we go into Raw. We start off with Edge and of course his amazing theme. You gotta headbang to that bad boy. He comes out and he goes to address the audience, and then Judgment Day comes down. Well, he actually called out Finn Balor, and then Judgment Day comes, and he mentions how, of course, he shows up with, Lurch, Pugsley, and Wednesday, which that popped me. I never made that connection, and now I will never unsee it, except for Rhea Ripley. She is not Wednesday. But anyway, so at the end of this back and forth between Edge and Finn Balor, we are getting a Hell in a Cell match at WrestleMania. Thank you, Papa H. If I'm not mistaken, the last time we had Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania was when he did it against The Undertaker. I think that was the last time. 10 years ago. Whoa. Yeah, 10 years ago. It was Triple H going against The Undertaker. I believe Shawn Michaels was the referee with that one. And that's what people had called the end of an era, because that was when the three of them stood at the top of the ramp and everything like that. So wow, we are going to have, and then Finn Balor had dropped the little nugget that, he's been to hell before and hell couldn't handle his demons. And I'm like, are we about to get Demon Balor? The correct version of Demon Balor in Hell in a Cell. Not no fucking red lights blinking on and off and Finn Balor pop locking back to life and whatnot. No. So we're getting Hell in a Cell. So then, of course, Judgment Day goes to attack Edge. Here come Dexter Lumis and Gargano. to save the day. They had a match against Damian Priest and Dominic Mysterio. And then we come to the segment that a lot of people are talking about. In case you were wondering, hey, Jaydee, what would Omos versus Brock Lesnar look like? And we got a little snippet here. And it's about as awkward as a teenager on his first date. We had Omos stood there in front of Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar is just standing there. Omos put his fist up to Brock Lesnar's face. So I guess we did that to show how big his fist is to Brock Lesnar's face. And then he opened up his hand and then he lowered his hand down for a handshake. They shook hands and then Omos wouldn't let go. Lesnar stopped on his foot because the taller they are, the harder they cry when they get their big toes stomped on. There was a little bit of scuffle and everything. And then Omos face palmed him and I guess tried to push him over the ropes. But of course, Brock Lesnar could not get over the rope the first time. And then Omos kind of pushed him over the rope. It looked like Brock Lesnar's face got caught on the bottom rope there because then he immediately goes red. Of course, the zebras show up and he told someone to get his hat. He got his hat and he started smiling and stuff. And then he got in the car and got the fuck out of town. He went home to his hot wife and I don't think he's thinking about Bobby Lashley. I'm guessing we're going to do the moment of him doing the F5 to Omos so we can have that moment. I figure that's pretty much the reason why we have this match is so we can create the moment of Brock Lesnar doing suplexes to Omos and F5ing him and stuff like that. I'm just hoping that Omos put on a good show for us too, but I'm just hoping that it'll be somewhat entertaining. That's what I'm hoping for. So then we get an announcement of a match between Cody Rhodes and LA Knight. I said, damn it. Because I like LA Knight. But of course he's going against the one and only Cody Rhodes. Goes against LA Knight. We already know what's going to happen. Cody Rhodes wins. Something I didn't realize, I forgot who mentioned this on Twitter, but Cody Rhodes, of course, is undefeated, but apparently he's 38-0. But apparently with the house shows they perform at and everything like that, he is 38-0. Don't know when he's going to lose. I'm hoping he's going to lose at WrestleMania, but it doesn't seem like it. So then, of course, he defeats LA Knight. LA Knight goes off, and then Cody Rhodes grabs the mic because we got to babyface it up. And he mentioned how he heard the warnings from Paul Heyman and stuff like that, and he is going to stand with Sami Zayn or Kevin Owens if he wants to, and how Paul Heyman said, don't make this personal. And he's saying, don't make it personal. It's been personal since he debuted it. Personal when he holds back tears every week. Then he says personal when you wear a tailored suit as a protective coat of armor. And then he mentioned how, you want me to acknowledge Roman Reigns? And he wants Roman Reigns to acknowledge him. He's been undefeated. And he grew up thinking he was a prince of the industry, but he's no longer and stuff. And he said, April 2nd isn't just for my family and all who share blood with me. It's for everyone who has followed him to the end, and how he waited his whole life and he will not wait any longer. And he's going to pin Roman Reigns and defeat him. And he's going to become the first Rhodes to say that he's the undisputed WWE Universal Champion. And then he went on to say, this November, vote for me for President of the United States. And I'm Cody Rhodes and I approve this message. I mean, he might as well add that at the end. But I'm like, sir, you the one that made it personal. You came back and immediately started talking about your dad and how you want to win a title. You put up the picture of the title that your dad never won, how he never won the title and everything, and how you're going to do it, and you're going to do it for your daughter, and you're going to do it for your wife, and how you solve racism, and how you kiss the babies and shake the hand, and how you plan to defeat Joe Biden this November and everything like that. So it's just like, dude, Like he does sound like he campaigns. It's like, bro, you made it personal. You made it all about that you're going to win this for your dad. There's more than one royal family. You said that across multiple promotions and everything. That's what you made yourself about. You made yourself about my dad, and I'm going to do this for my dad, and my dad, and my dad, and my dad, and my dad. He put it out there. Like I said last episode, okay? I know you're probably tired, like, Jaydee, damn, you are such a hater. I gave y'all the warning that I'm president. But I'm just interested on how this plays out once he is no longer the underdog babyface. Like, once you are acknowledged, and once you become the New York Yankees, you become Tom Brady and the Patriots. It's just like you can no longer campaign because you are president at this point. So now everything is on your hands. And I'm very curious to how they're going to book his championship. I wonder, is he going to just hold on to it until the next WrestleMania? Are they going to split the belts with him? Are they going to keep both belts with him? And we're going to have a bottleneck of challengers from now until he loses it next. Who knows? So after that, now we have the return of bum-ass Baron Corbin, which I like. I like it. Every time somebody has an opportunity, this man tries to get it. He is straight up Vegas. He rolls up and he mentions like, hey, you got opportunity? I'm the man for the opportunity. And they sit there and say, yo, what are you doing here? Go sell some scrap metal or something. And he walks away looking sad. So I'm guessing they're going to try to bring back sad Corbin, because he was very over when he was sad and bum-ass Baron Corbin. So I don't know if that's where we're going to go. Maybe this will lead into another matchup between him and Pat McAfee. I don't know. I don't know where we're going with Baron Corbin. I'm assuming we're going with the sad Corbin from there. But we shall see. Then Baron start talking shit to Seth Rollins. So we had a match with them too. Of course, Baron Corbin loses from there. We also had Bianca Belair going against Chelsea Green with Carmella in her corner. I do like the partnership of Carmella and Chelsea. I just don't know what we are doing with Bianca Belair until Mania. Like, we're just throwing people to her and have Asuka come out to help her out. And then Asuka, of course, doing the weirdness, stuff like that. Like, this week she took the title and started doing her dance with it. And she starts laughing and her teeth had the mist and stuff like that. And just being weird. I just want the evil Asuka. Like, I never saw her I never saw her wrestle, I should say, with the evil clown makeup that she did in Japan. I know of it, and I would like to see it being done here on the grand stage, but I will be patient. Can't scare the kids immediately. All right, we're gonna have her with the makeup and smiling and stuff, but I want Asuka to destroy some bitches around here. She loves to say no one's ready for Asuka, and I know people aren't really ready for Asuka, but I really wanted to see it to go down as well. So then we end Raw with a fight between Kevin Owens and Solo Sikoa. This was a street fight, pretty good match. But then of course KO got caught with the okie doke with Solo going into the backstage area. They go into the gorilla, and then the Usos come out and they start whipping ass, and no one came to help Kevin Owens, not even Cody Rhodes. So like, we didn't even show like maybe Sami Zayn watching from home or something like that, or tweeting in something, but it is what it is. I'm just waiting for us to take the next step and have Sami and KO reunite, and then we can concentrate on the title picture, because I'm going to be slightly disappointed if Sami and KO reunite the Raw before Mania and then they challenge the titles right then and there, and then that's that. And then, we got a title match. Like, no. Can we... I would love to see some back and forth between the Usos, Sammy and KO. I would love to see the promo between the two teams at least. But don't pull an AEW and give us the biggest part of the puzzle and not give us enough time to, relish in how good it is at the moment. I know I made like a food reference, but just follow along with me here. So now, here we go into AEW Dynamite. I am recording after Dynamite, so if anything comes up afterwards, I don't know. So we had started out the night with MJF's Bar Mitzvah celebration. It was very interesting. I have to say it was, I don't think we had a segment like this on WWE. Triple H, MJF comes out, 4 women, he makes out with one of them, he gets into the ring, the streamers come down and everything, and then of course he does his own spiel of, he mocks the crowd for thinking Bret Hart's entertaining, Shawn Michaels is better, it's his birthday, he talks about his religion, and he tapped out Bryan Danielson and stuff like that. He mentioned how I am now Iron Man, which I popped for that one because Marvel. So then out comes Jungle Boy. And I said, okay. He gets on the mic. Before that happens, I see Sammy Guevara comes out. And I said, are they about to do a 4 Pillars thing? Did someone remember that there is a t-shirt with these 4 people on there and realized I need to do something with this? So then out comes Darby Allin, and I said, all right, here we go. 4 Pillars match. If it's called 4 Pillars match, I want to cut him my money for that, for saying that. Anyway, so MJF asked them, what is it that y'all want? And all 3 of them at the same time, straight up cartoon wise, I want a title match. So then, of course, here comes this. Now, first of all, this is when it gets really good. So we had Jungle Boy, who told him to shut up and mentioned the last time that they had faced each other was at Double or Nothing 2020 and during the pandemic and stuff like that, and how Jungle Boy was stuck on Dark. And he mentioned how MJF's never been on Dark, he's never been on Elevation, and he's never been on Rampage. And there's an entire locker room of men and women who have busted their ass, and MJF gets, to take up 20 minutes doing, quote unquote, the same hokey bullshit he's done for the past 4 years. And how MJF is able to do what he wants to do and basically stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, shots fired, pew, pew, pew. And then Sammy says, hey, you shut up. And Sammy then says how the entire place runs around him, how he will re-circumcise him and stuff like that. He said how Sammy had grinded his way in the indies for years, and he had worked at Subway, and when he finally got here, he was told that he was going to be the Inner Circle's jobber, and how, it wasn't going to mean any, pretty much he wasn't going to become anything, and how he never had anybody, the machine pushing against him and stuff like that. And then MJF goes to say something to him, and then Darby Allin then says something, and how Darby Allin mentioned how he was in film school and how the teacher told him to change something, and so then he dropped out of school instead and became a pro wrestler. And he mentioned how he had a meeting with Tony Khan and said that there will never be a bidding war with him because he's not worth money, I guess I should say that. And how the biggest problem was that the company has grown-ass men whining on Twitter about, oh, I'm unhappy, and, I wish I'm not being used properly, and I wish I can get out of my contract. And I said, oh, more shots fired. Bop, 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 So then he mentioned how MJF, including MJF the champion, because he's talking about the bidding war world of 2024, And he mentioned how, you know what I'm going to do now? He said, I'm going to get on Twitter and complain. And then he said, it's like, no, what I'm really going to do is, hit you in the face with the skateboard and stuff like that. MJF gets hot and starts yelling, and he takes off his glasses, and his eyes look booked up. And Darby Allin said, you look like shit. And then he mentioned at Sami Zayn, he called him like he's going to propose to another girl in 7 months. And I was like, oh, more shots fired. And then Sami came back and was like, didn't your fiance leave you? And I'm like, oh, more shots fired. And then MJF mentioned how all of them had mentors and how this is daddy daycare and stuff like that. And he's the only one that can keep the company up. He's the only pillar that can keep the company up. And then it leads to a brawl. Eventually, MJF gets into cake because, you can't end a birthday celebration segment without someone's face going into cake. So then we went into. Now I didn't catch this match. I was watching on a stream. I should have tweeted at Cody Rhodes and find out what stream he was watching, because apparently he used the stream to watch Revolution. And I just would like to know what stream he used, because I didn't hear him complain about streams freezing up or being taken down or something. So he must got that high quality presidential type of stuff. So I didn't really catch this match with Hangman Page and Dark Order going against the Blackpool Combat Club. So it seems like we are still continuing on with this feud with Hangman Page and Jon Moxley. I saw that Stu was back in AEW wrestling this match, and it didn't even click to me. He looked good. He looked pretty good. Of course, Blackpool Combat Club wins the match. And then we come to my girl, Jade Cargill. She was going against whoever Canada had to offer, the best that Canada had to offer. She comes out, and I was very happy that she was on Dynamite, and she looked good, and she went against I don't even know. And it didn't even matter because the match lasted for about 5 seconds. Cargill told the person to try to hit her, and she mugged her, and she tries to fire back, and Jade Cargill got her with the jaded. Renee comes into the ring and asks her what kind of, what is she going to do next? And then Jade backs her in the corner and was like, aren't you from Canada? And she kisses Renee on the forehead. And so then she gets on the mic and mentioned how she is now 54-0. And then music starts to play. The crowd gets hype. And it's Taya Valkyrie here. And of course, I'm guessing she's going to be the one in 54-1. I'm so biased. I'm biased because I love Jade Cargill. It feels like Taya may be the one to take title off her. I would love for it to have been Chris Statlander, but unfortunately Chris Statlander is injured. So I'm guessing that's what we're going to do, is that we're going to have Taya have I'm hoping a feud storyline with Jade Cargill. I'm hoping this isn't going to be some randomness and she wrestles her on a random Dynamite or something like that. No. Jade Cargill needs to lose her title at the pay-per-view, which is Double or Nothing, if I remember correctly. So yeah, we need to get to that. And then we get to, I would have to say, a segment that I didn't ask for, but I really appreciate it. All that shit everyone was talking about with QT Marshall and stuff like that. And they gave us this TMZ style segment, which I thought was funny. I thought it was pretty funny. And QT Marshall was holding the bottle and everything like that. And we saw footage of Wardlow's car getting broken into by Aaron Solo. Can someone please explain to me who is the girl and then the guy that was sitting next to her? I feel like we're supposed to know these people, but my indie knowledge is not that great, so I don't know if I'm supposed to know who she is. I don't know. And then, of course, they made references to Batista, and they made reference. Who was the other person they made a reference to? I completely forgot. They made another reference to someone in WWE, and I was like, "Oh, we're name dropping more." Pew pew pew. I mean, tonight's AEW Dynamite was brought to you by Smith and Weston because there were a lot of shots being fired, and no one asked for all these shots to be fired, but they fired a lot of shots. I think AEW needs to go international a little bit more often because this Dynamite in Toronto was very good. I'm pretty sure this was booked very strongly because they knew the type of crowd they were going in there with, that they can't just pull any shit out of their ass. Yeah, I forgot they compared Wardlow to someone else. I wish I knew who they compared to, but I'm drawing a complete blank. But yeah, they were name dropping people. And I'm like, oh wow. This is just like wow. So I still don't know how I feel about I know how I feel about Powerhouse Hobbs teaming up with QT Marshall. I feel like Powerhouse Hobbs don't need help like that because it's Powerhouse Hobbs. And it's just Wardlow. I think Powerhouse Hobbs can beat Wardlow one-on-one. And then we get to Jeff Jarrett versus Orange Cassidy. I noticed that Orange Cassidy had walked out with a book bag, and I tend to tune out during entrances, so it never occurred to me that the belt was in his book bag, and that's why he carries the book bag. So that I find that funny. But I would like to applaud Tony Khan for reading his geography book and renaming that title from the All-Atlantic title to the International title. Because the word international is a lot better than All-Atlantic. Because last time I checked, Japan is not touching the Atlantic Ocean. So to have people from Japan competing for a belt that, doesn't even mention where they live makes no sense. So now we have the International Championship, or can we say the IC title? But it's a nice looking belt. The belt looks beautiful. This was a pretty good match between Jeff Jarrett and Orange Cassidy. Say what you want and feel how you feel about Jeff Jarrett, but Jeff Jarrett is living life right about now. He kept strutting. He kept doing strut after strut after strut, and it feels like he just has a second win. I figured Orange Cassidy was going to win this match because the balls that Tony Khan would have to give Team TNA a title. But this was a pretty good match between Jeff Jarrett and Orange Cassidy, of course. And then we get back to, first of all, the NWO 3.5. They have a name, and let me check my notes. They're called the Outcasts, not to be confused with Outsiders, but these are Outcasts. And they have a whole new entrance, new theme song, stuff like that. They talked about how the grass was greener here in AEW until a couple of bitches came and pissed all over the grass. And Saraya, of course, mentioned her, this is our house and stuff. And they should be happy that they're there because without them, there's no division. And Tony Storm mentioned how she was the interim champion. She was never given, the title of being champion, and no one appreciated her and stuff. And so then comes out Jamie Hayter, because they mentioned Jamie Hayter's name, and Britt Baker, DMD. They came out, of course, to get beat down because it's 3 against 2. And then Riho comes out. I don't know what she had in her hand. I don't know if that was like a stick or a metal pipe or something like that. Or a candlestick from the study. I'm starting to sound like Clue. But she had something in her hand. I think it was a metal pipe that was wrapped up in ribbon or something like that. But she runs out with Willow Nightingale and Sky Blue, and the Outcasts run away. And so I'm guessing we may have Riho, Willow Nightingale, and Sky Blue versus the Outcasts. I don't know if that's where we're going with that, and then we go from there. So then we have the main events. The House of Black versus the Jericho Appreciation Society, and the Elite. And at first I felt some type of way about House of Black coming out first, but then I quickly understood, oh wait, we're in Winnipeg, where apparently Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega are both from. So yeah, you can't have the House of Black come out last because it will be completely irrelevant to the crowd, because the crowd is there to see Kenny and Chris Jericho. So House of Black comes out. Not the best of entrances that they make, but I'm fine with it either way because they're the coolest thing walking in AEW. And yes, I said that. I said coolest. So Jay Cargill still takes my heart. But yeah, they're the coolest thing walking in AEW right now, and I love the entrance. Of course, Julia Hart and everything. Just everything about them is very cool. And then out comes the Elite, and then out comes Chris Jericho. And the pops for these two men was crazy, especially when they tease them standing off between each other. But this was a good match. It wasn't like all types of crazy that we had with House of Black and the Elite at Revolution, but this was still a good match, a good mix between the three trios team that we had here. We had Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega teaming up for a little bit and then going against each other for a little bit. And there was a lot of crazy spots in this. Of course, Kenny Omega is doing crazy things. Brody King surprises the fuck out of me. That man moves like he shouldn't be moving. Like, very, very talented. But this was a very good match with all of them. We saw Chris Jericho bring out the Code Breaker. If I'm not mistaken, he did the Walls of Jericho on Kenny Omega as well. And then they cut to the backstage where the Blackpool Combat Club are fighting the Dark Order and Hangman Page. And then they come back to this fight, and it was more chaos. Of course, House of Black retained here, and then out comes Jake Hager, who, stumbles down the ramp. And then we had Hangman Page and Blackpool Combat Club coming back. Blackpool Combat Club beating up Dark Order. Hangman Page is up in the ring and he gets surrounded by the Blackpool Combat Club, and the Elite gets into the ring behind Hangman Page. Hangman Page didn't realize that they were behind them, and then Blackpool Combat Club walk away, and then Hangman starts slowly turning, and I'm sitting here like, don't cut the feed, don't cut the feed. And the fucking show goes off air as he's turning around. Like, we couldn't even, bro, Tony, we couldn't even see the look on his face. We couldn't get the reaction. It would have been better if we got the part where he turns around and we get his reaction, and then there's a standoff between him and the Elite. That's how you do a fucking cliffhanger. Not cut the show before he turns around and we see his reaction to the face. Like, you are almost as bad as the series finale of the fucking Sopranos. Like, that made me upset because I'm like, we couldn't even get the look on his face. So we're supposed to watch Rampage at 11:30 at night in order to get the recap? No, bro. I'll catch it on Twitter when someone posts off their phone what happened when the show went off air. So you can catch me with that. But yeah, I did not like how that ended, and it's something I can't stand that AEW does. They have great things that happen, great matches. It's just a poor finish. That was a very good episode of Dynamite, but the ending was -5 stars because we couldn't even see his face when he turned around. It would have been so much better if he turned around and then there was a standoff between them two, and you're looking at Hangman Page face for reaction and the Elite faces for reaction. And that's it. We don't need to see anything else. I don't need to see if they hugged or anything like that. I'll tune into next week's Dynamite for it. That's how you do the cliffhanger that they love to do over in WWE to try to get you to tune in next week. Not cut it off, when it happened. Can you imagine if WWE was to do that? If the Royal Rumble was to end with Sami Zayn holding the chair, standing behind Roman Reigns, and you see Roman Reigns turn, and then the show goes off air. Smashing keyboard on Twitter. Come on. So yeah, it was a very good episode of Dynamite. It's just the ending of that was complete trash. So, like I said, very interesting week of wrestling. A lot of news. Very good wrestling that we had going on as we are winding down to the days of WrestleMania, which is coming in 2 weeks. So that's it for this episode of the Wrestlebread podcast, and I am very excited to announce some new changes that are coming to the Wrestlebread podcast. Don't have any fear. It is nothing bad. It is all good in the neighborhood. The first announcement I have is starting March 23rd. That is Thursday, March 23rd. I will be streaming live every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. So you can catch your girl live in living color every week. Now, the audio episodes will still be appearing wherever you listen to your podcast, but now you can catch a live stream, a video version of the podcast live on YouTube. And you're probably saying, Jaydee, why are you deciding to do live streams now? And that's because I'm excited to announce I am part of the Bloodline Entertainment Network. That's right. The damn thing I told you to fucking check out. Now you gotta check it out. And if you don't know, now you know. And I will be also live streaming through the Bloodline Entertainment Network as well. So hop on YouTube, hop on Twitter, hop on the internet, search Bloodline Entertainment Network. There is a website where you can get all your stuff, okay? If you are more than a wrestling fan, if you love your sports, you love your anime, you love your baseball, you love your football, you love your fantasy sports, you love talking movies, whatever. It is all in one go. No need to start typing in 5 different websites. No need to try to get, all these websites on Reddit or whatever. You can go to one location to check it all out. And that's the Bloodline Entertainment Network. And that's where you will also be finding the podcast as well, streaming live on YouTube every Thursday at 9 p.m. starting on March 23rd. I'm very excited for this opportunity. It'll definitely give the podcast a lot to grow, especially coming in with, the 4th anniversary and stuff like that, the podcast will be growing from here on out. And I'm very excited for the next opportunities as well. So yes, your girl is now part of the Bloodline Entertainment Network. If you don't know, now you know. Acknowledge us and go check out the website. Be sure to follow on Twitter. Be sure to follow on YouTube. Be sure to follow on Instagram. Follow everywhere. And that's the Bloodline Entertainment Network.com for the website. You can go there for everything. And it is a joint project with other podcasts as well. So be sure to check out the other podcasts. That is Clark Street Wrestling Podcast, Circle of Debate, Top Rope Wrestling Talk, The Tim King Show, the Universal Wrestling Podcast, and the Wrestling DeLorean. Make sure you check them all out. There's other people too who contribute to the website that talks about wrestling, sports, fantasy sports, like I said, entertainment, Marvel, whatever nerdy thing you are into, more likely it's on the website as well. I'm very happy about, this next step in with Wrestlebread as well. I'm very happy, and I hope you are happy along with me and that we are going through this next journey together. But yes, be sure to catch me next week. All right. And if you don't know, well, now you can follow me. You can follow me on Twitter at JDC137. That's JAYDEE, the letter C137. You can also follow the podcast on Twitter at Wrestlebread as well. Be sure to click the links in the bio for the Instagram, the YouTube, the Facebook, and the TikTok. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment on the YouTube, because soon you're going to be able to see your girl. And soon you'll be able to go on YouTube and you can chat with me. Hey, do you want to call out the fact that I am a hater? I'm the president of the Haterade Club when it comes to Cody Rhodes. Come on in. Would you like to acknowledge the tribal chief? Come on in. Would you like to sit there and talk about Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill along with me? Come on in. Would you also like to tell me how you feel as though Vince McMahon has snuck into the building and all the conspiracy theories that you feel may be going on? Come on in. I'll be giving my predictions. I'll be giving my reviews. And sometimes I may talk sports like I did earlier this episode. You want to call me a hypocrite because I live in Philly and I'm a Cowboys fan? Come on in, okay? Come on in. Come on in. Every week, starting Thursday 23rd, 9 p.m. Eastern, and we're going to have a good ass time. Did AEW Dynamite piss you off because they decided to cut the damn feed too early and you couldn't see Hangman Page face? You come on in, all right? We're going to have a good time. There's going to be a lot of laughs, but there's going to be some laughing. We're going to have a good old time. So, like I said, check us out. Check out the Bloodline Entertainment Network, and I will see you guys next week. All right. But thank you so much for listening. And until next time, guys, peace.